Good evening, everybody. This is Vincent Maletti, the owner, partner, and lead counsel over here at Maletti Law. This video being done today has actually jumped ahead of the line, has jumped in haste simply because of the response we've got. Just so you obviously all know what's going on, if you live in New York City, de Blasio had recently stated that, I want to say September 13th, all restaurants, gyms, and certain venues, I think all venues actually indoors, are going to be required to ask you for your vaccination, so some kind of proof of vaccination. Whether or not people want to believe it, or whether you guys in the media want to believe it or not, there is a very big resistance toward the vaccine. I mean, just generally off the bat, one, it's not tested. Two, it's linked to, I want to say the number is now almost 12,000 deaths. Get that correct. 12,000 deaths to the vaccine. This all comes from the VAERS website. Okay, hospitalizations, over 41,000 hospitalizations. I mean, we're talking about adverse reports, 600,000 adverse reports, accumulating something like 1.3 million in total. So, I mean, look, there's problems, right? And whatever it is getting ignored all the time. So listen, at the end of the day, somebody's gonna have to go in some kind of litigation. And over again, I'm getting asked by multiple people, hey, what is it that I can do, right? Look, the title of this article, the 5 steps you must take before entering into any vaccine litigation. The 5 steps you must take before you enter any vaccine litigation. I'm going to prepare a graphic chart at some point, which is going to be password protected, similar to what we did last time, where you dropped your email address, I sent a password to you. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be coming in the next couple of days, maybe next day or two. I'm trying to get some other pre-existing litigation stuff out of the way, and then I'll go into that. So without further ado, this will be a very short, quick video. The 5 steps you must take before entering into vaccine litigation. Now, remember, there's going to be 2 portions of this. There's one bucket where you're suing the city, and then there's going to be another bucket where you're suing your employer. If you're suing the city, we've been here before, guys. We've been here a lot of times, guys and girls. We've been here for, we've been here for the mask mandates. We've been here for the shutting of the gyms. We've been here for the shutting of the restaurants and the theater industry with the city. But we learned a few things this time, right? So one of the major things we learned this time around is that there are power in numbers, okay? I would suggest, if you're suing the city, step 1, gather a group of 20 to 30 people, like-minded, where, let's just say this is for the vaccine, right? So 20 to 30 people, like-minded, anti-vaccine. Okay, step 1. Step 2, each of those members, 20 to 30 people, must contribute something toward a retainer, because these are expensive litigation. These are expensive cases. Guys, I do not work for free. No attorney works for free. But when you're collectively putting your money together, it's much cheaper and more affordable for you. Someone like me has very low rates. I will, give tremendous discounts, something like this. Other attorneys do and don't, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, these things are expensive because there's a lot of filing involved, a lot of time involved, and you have to understand what you're up against. The city has thousands and thousands of attorneys they hire for $30,000 a year that work salaried, that are more than happy to sit there all day and make your life miserable with terrible filings. And their work is awful. Awful. I've sparred with them many times. Their work is awful. They're not good attorneys. They're $30,000 a year attorneys. They do not care. Okay? They're salary attorneys. They don't care. So this step 1 is get a group of 20 to 30 people like-minded. Step 2, each of those people contribute between $500 and $1,000 for retainers. Generally, retainers are going to be higher, but if a lot of people contribute, it'll collectively work together. Now, for the attorneys, I would suggest putting all this in an escrow account and maintaining that money. If the case were to die out, which is most likely, I'll get into the next point. If the case were to die out, whatever the case is, you still have the money in escrow. Either you give it back to your clients again, or they refresh it, or the clients refresh it again by giving another $75 to $100 each to pump into that escrow account. At the end of the day, you give the money back that you don't use if you get to a point where it's a total stalemate. Okay, so this brings us to the third portion of it, is all clients, you must understand the concept of redressability and how fast you will lose standing. What happens in these situations? The city will sit there and they'll notice something. They'll go, oh, okay, well, you know what? We'll change something in the law. Or this law has now, or this law or this directive has now expired. If that's the case, you lose redressability. The courts can no longer redress your grievance, and therefore you do not have constitutional standing. So keep that in mind, okay? Don't think you lost the case. It's terrible. It's all over. Everything's dead. No, it's just, the law or the order has expired. they will certainly reintroduce it, and then you have to refile again. Hence, goes into the fourth step, what I was mentioning before. We contribute the additional $75 to $100 for additional filings. It goes into the escrow account. Step 5, be united. No one of you, of the 20 to 30 people, settled separately or outside. Be united. No weakness, because the second you start settling and the second you start dividing, united we stand, divided we fall, okay? So going through those 5 points, if you sue in the city, 1, a group of 20 to 30 people like-minded. 2, each of those people contributes between $500 and $1,000 toward a retainer. 3, understand the redressability. It's not the end of the law, not the end of the world if the law expires and they reintroduce it and your case gets dismissed. You refile. It doesn't get it happens all the time. It's not the end of the world. 4, if that happens, check your retainer. Everybody puts in between additional $75 to $100. Okay, this means that you have gone through months of litigation for a cost of $575 in some instances. So smart move, not a bad thing at all. Okay, and number 5, no one settles. Do not settle during the process. Take it to absurdity, because that's what you're there for. You're protecting your rights. You're not there to make money. Okay, that is if you sue in the city. The second bucket, if you're suing your employer. Okay, you got your 5 rules if you're suing your employer, similar 5 steps, but it's just going to be small in a different scope. Okay, step 1, you get a group of 10 to 15 like-minded employees, 10 to 15 like-minded employees similar to you, anti-vax. Now, step 2, each one of those 10 to 15 employees, same, contributes between $500 and $1,000 to a retainer. Because it's smaller, your retainer is going to be between $5,000 and $15,000. Attorneys, it's going to be fine. It's a private business. They're not the city. They can't hire 57,000 lawyers to sue you. It's a much different dialogue, and it's a much different conversation. Part 3, all of the employees, that 10 to 15 like-minded group, be ready to accept termination. Okay, you're going to get terminated. You reject the vaccine, you get terminated. All right. Which goes into step 4, file for unemployment. Unemployment is available for those who are ready, willing, and able to work. As of the date of this video, as of August 4th, there is plenty of cases, plenty of Department of Labor hearings in both New York and New Jersey that for nurses that have rejected the flu vaccine and was terminated from their position as nurses were eligible for unemployment benefits. So you will not lose your unemployment. You are ready, willing, able to work, but because of the employer, you cannot have your job. You will be getting unemployment. So that will cover your losses in the meantime while you're waiting for this to pan through. Okay. Number 5. Same thing as the other one. Do not settle during the process. Do not settle during the process. Oppose outright, okay? Because what's going to wind up happening is, again, the same time, it's more likely they will want to settle at the employment level, at the private employer level, because simply put, they don't have the city's money to sue all day, right? So do not settle during the process. Be bold, be aggressive, be unafraid, unmasked, unvaccinated, and don't care. Push forward, all right? It's going to be a scary process, but don't be afraid, because you have power in numbers. The employer will yield. I promise you they will yield, because they don't want to deal with it. Because at the end of the day, for them, it's just, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to enforce it. It's just how it's going to, it's just, me personally, I don't. So, for my employees, I could care less, right? I have 2 right now. For mine, I can care less. I enforce nothing, okay? And that's for all you people out there that want to spam this video and report it. I will not care, okay? Because I don't care. So, that's my mentality. And let's remember the 5 same tips for employers. For private employees, if you want to sue them. 1, find 10 to 15 like-minded employees. Step 2, each of those employees contributes between $500 and $1,000 toward the retainer. Attorneys, retainer, and escrow. Step 3, collectively reject the vaccine from your employer, get terminated. Trust me, that's what needs to happen, I promise you. Step 4, file your unemployment. As of August 4th, you will receive unemployment. You are ready, willing, and able to work. It is because of a condition of the employer. You are no longer eligible for your job. Therefore, you meet the definition of unemployment. This was upheld with nurses in the court. This was upheld with nurses who have rejected the flu vaccine in both New York and New Jersey. So don't worry about that. Number 5, do not settle during the process. Oppose outright. Do not care. Do not settle. Because again, united we stand, divided we fall. All right? No soldier gets left behind. Finally, like I mentioned, at some point I'm going to create a spreadsheet. I'm going to create a graphic chart that's going to have this visually presented nicely for you, and it's going to be password protected. Go to the newsletter, sign up for the newsletter. Show me that you signed up for the newsletter. It's going to be on the website on the policies page. You'll download it. You'll email me for the password. You'll show me sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get it. It'll be just a quick, again, similar to this, quick 5-step points. Look, it's going to be fine. Keep plugging away. Don't give up your liberties. Don't give up your rights. There are ways out there. Collectively, you are strong. You are strong as a group. You are weak individually. And it takes just one to fall. It takes just one crumb to fall for everything else to fall from underneath it. So be strong, be fearless, unmasked, unvaxxed, unafraid. Yours in love, lives in law. I'm always here. Vinny Maletti. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Don't be afraid.